Hi, this is Amber Phillips with Ohio Media School, and I have the pleasure of standing next to Coach Kyle from St. Ignatius. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. It's a fun weekend.
50 years, what was the beginning of it? How did you get your start in football?
Oh, well, I went to St. Ignatius High School. My three older brothers went there, so it was really part of our family in a way. I went to John Carroll University. In my senior year, junior year, I injured my shoulder playing, so it was like, well, that's enough of this. But I had an opportunity to just drive down to Ignatius from John Carroll and be an assistant coach. And to be honest, I caught the bug. You know, this is fun. I love coaching, and so I was going to be an English teacher and a coach. That's all I thought this whole thing was going to be about. And fortunately, there was an opening in English at St. Ignatius, and so here this young teacher starts out and as an assistant football coach, and the track job open, and the athletic director goes, hey, you ran when you were here. You want to be the head track coach? So I was head track coach for 49 years too, see. So it just really began like that, and I'll be honest with you, my idea was to be an English teacher and do some coaching. I didn't, in my wildest imagination, thought, well, I'm going to be the head coach and win a few state championships and all these sort of things. I just want to have fun,
You just have to be great at it.
I don't know. It's a sport that when you get hooked, there's a lot to it, right? And you research, and there's always trying to find an answer. And you have a great season, you can't rest on your laurels because all your opponents are looking at your film all year. How do we take advantage of some things? So you always had to stay on top of things, and that was fun. That was a part of it, not to rest on your laurels, but look for some other answer or tweak something to make it even better. So that sort of research was fun.
So with the research, so you're preparing for a game, what would the period before that game look like for you to research?
Oh,
what's that process look like?
Like you play a Friday night game, let's say. Well, Saturday afternoon, because morning usually there's a JV game or something, but Saturday afternoon, it's coaches meeting and let's go. And we have to, certainly you'd look at your previous game just to see what things need to be worked on, but now for the next couple hours, you're pouring through the next opponent and taking a look at, exchange game films and just trying to see what they do, what can our offense and our defense, how do we adjust for what's going to happen? And so to say it's 7 days, it was 7 days a week, it was 7 days a week. It really was. And I think any coach would tell you that. But that's why you have to love it, because it's busy. And your family has to be understanding about 7 days a week. And so a lot of times my wife would say, well, it's football season, I'll see you in December or something like that, because it's just that type of workload.
So would you say that being away from your family was one of the most challenging parts of that? Like having to do the balance, sort of?
It is a challenge for any coach. They have to realize that, and the family, I think, has to be in for it. And I appreciate my wife and my kids. They knew that's what I wanted to do, and it makes it so much easier when the family understands that, right? And be supportive. So, there's certainly other careers that demand a lot of time. Let's face it. I mean, right? At least I was in town. How about that? In a comparison, I wasn't traveling, all over America and then home for a day and leaving again. I was coming home at night all the time. So that was a plus. But the workload is intense. It is, but fun. That's the one thing. I mean, when you love what you're doing, it's fun.
That and something like that, you could bring your family along with you. Like, I've got a 3-year-old, and school and work and life, it's hard to do the juggle. So I admire people that have as much as you on a workload, and you've got an amazing wife that is right here.
Right. I mean, that's the the key to happiness. And I'm not a philosopher here. I taught some English, okay, but I wouldn't trade a second of my life. It was just so much fun. And was it a lot of time? Yes, a lot of effort. And it just appreciated that the family loved being at those games. And, you know, the parents were always really nice to my wife and my kids. I mean, and I can remember, she would tell you, you know, we had our youngest, and I'm coaching, and I'm on the field, and she's up in the crowd, and sometimes she had to look, where'd the baby go? Because it's being, you know, the kid, my little daughter was being passed all around the crowd, you know, and you know, doing this stuff. So that was the kind of the fun that was involved with it.
What do you think the most challenging part of being a coach to high school kids was? So there's a lot of hormones and you're still maturing and it's an intense workload for somebody that's young. So how did you get them motivated to do as well as they did?
Well, I really felt when they come out for football, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the state of Ohio, so there's something to that, right? And you want to keep it fun. And you want to keep it so that the enjoyment of doing it, they realize the work ethic that is needed. And when you see that a young person realizes it just doesn't happen, there's a lot of work involved. But when it all clicks, it's very rewarding. And when a kid has that happen, you just see it on the face. When it clicks, it's like, yes, this is good. And those are those looks that's why you coach, you know, to see those kids, you know, working hard at it, they're working at it, and they're getting it, right? And they feel it, and it's happening, and in the game they're getting it, and you're like, now, you got him now. You got this kid, right? And it's you know, yes, we've had some kids go on into college and play, and we have some that have gone on into pro football. Well, we have 3 guys actually in the NFL that are coaching that I coached, right? And
That's amazing.
Little did they know years ago that would be where they would go, right? But the nice thing about it, you know, they're the kids that, you know, they finished in high school. They said that was enough. It was fun. Well, I'm going to college for another reason, okay? But they look at one of the really rewarding things that I guess, you know, a guy 15 years, 20 years later comes back, you know, Coach, I really appreciated because you taught us how important the work ethic is and how, you know, setting these goals and the commitment that you need to reach that level of success. So that, you know, there's to me, the football field is a classroom. It really is. You learn so much out there, so much. So I hope they learn something, you know.
Yeah, and it seems like even if they didn't go on and play football, that work ethic translates into everything they do. So whether you went on to the military or you started working or whatever, knowing that you had to do what you had to do to get better.
Right. You know, you have an opportunity to talk to kids and actually about life. You know, you really do, because you can relate it to a lot of things. And as far as just, you know, okay, preparation, you know, just list all the things that a football coach works on. And the one thing I think kids, you always had to have them realize, you know, it's not always the most talented team that wins. Talent takes you so far, but are you prepared? Is your work ethic and, you know, composure and able to handle things? I mean, they've got to learn that somewhere, and, you know, English teachers can have you read things about that, but it's nice when they live it in you know, under the lights, and there's a big crowd, and you have to step up and handle some things. And so that's something I think they remember the rest of their lives, you know. The point being is that there's so many things that they learned in the process of playing high school football that they may never take another snap, honestly, but they can apply it to that whatever career they decide to do. Please go for it. You're smart enough. If you really if you want it, you really love doing it, go for it. Don't talk yourself out of it, because I always tell them, you know, it's most of the careers out there, it's all about work ethic. You know, if you work hard enough, you'll get it. You know, don't talk yourself that you can't do it, or you're not smart enough, or you're not. No, just you learn that on the football field. That's the way I look at it. So that's the fun part.
Thank you for that.
Oh, sure.
So my last question, did you ever think about going into the pros to coach there, or did you want to stay with high school, and why?
You know, I did have the opportunity to be like go up to college and be an assistant or something like that. I do have to. I'm not going to. I have to say that, you know, because to answer you, and I just did what I just looked in the mirror and go, wait a minute, that's not why. I don't want to get talked out of what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach English and coach high school kids. And I thought, why am I getting, I don't want to get talked out of doing that. I get a lot of joy out of that. And so, you know, you want to be happy in life, right? And how flattering to go, hey, we'd like you to interview or something like that. And it just, you know, you kind of take a deep breath and you go, wait a minute, that's not what I really want to do. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep doing it with these kids and enjoy it. So, and I wouldn't trade a second of my life. This is fun. This is great. I enjoy it a lot.
I feel like you make more of an impact with high school because you're building the people that could potentially be there one day. But I love your philosophy and all of that, being able to build up people, give them the tools they need to go on with their lives. And if they go there, cool, but they're going to remember you forever for doing that.
You know, there's a lot of, they've gone on to be successful in business, doctors, coaches in the NFL, coaches in college. They love football so much, that's what they wanted to do in their career. That's what you hope, right? That's what you hope. And you know, it's also amazing, friendship, because, you know, these guys, you know, 20 years later, they'll come back and have a reunion, right? Yeah. Within 10 minutes, they're like teenage kids again, right? With their buddies and so on. And you see that happening, it just brings a tear to your eye. You know, that they're still teammates, right? They're still part of the team. So those are things that any high school coach will tell you is just, well,
like watching your children.
Oh, man, that's just a special part of this thing.
Well, I would say you were a very special part of all of them, and they'll remember you, and I appreciate it so much that you took the time to talk to me.
Sure.
That was Coach Kyle. I'm Amber Phillips, and we're from Ohio Media School. Thank you.